Hey there, and welcome to Prompt Responses, the companion to my blog, This Side of the Apple. I'm Shonda Renee, and I am just here to read. Simple as that. These are my real, unfiltered responses to prompts that pull a little something real from inside. Sometimes they're personal, sometimes a little poetic, sometimes a little raw. Each episode is short, but the heart behind them runs deep. So thanks for stopping by, and let's get into it. Today's prompt is, what's the oldest thing you're wearing today? The title of my response is The Ring and Reclamation. The oldest thing I am wearing today is my wedding ring. My husband and I are coming up on our 11th wedding anniversary. A huge part of the joy I wrote about the other day has 90% to do with him and our marriage. My journey to having him in my life was a painful one. It reminds me of a line from Richard Siken's Litany in which certain things are crossed out, a poem that captures the confusion, hope, and self-erasure that often come with surviving emotional harm. He writes, "Everyone needs a place. It shouldn't be inside of someone else. And you want a better story? Who wouldn't?" As I look back at it and reflect on the broken person I was, that pain might have been necessary for me to get back to seeing myself as worthy, as capable, as lovable. There's never an excuse for abuse. I want to make that clear. Holding myself accountable for the functioning of my brain and heart as I went through that period of my life does not absolve the abuser of his role. It allows me to see myself more truthfully and make corrections within myself so as not to fall prey to that sort of person again. Michaela Cole, the amazing British actor, responsible for Chewing Gum and I May Destroy You, the latter series being about a sexual assault that she experienced, was criticized when she reflected on what she could have done differently to have avoided the assault. Somehow, her personal testimony about her lived experience was interpreted by some as her absolving her attacker of all responsibility, which is ludicrous, to say the least. But it speaks to something larger. How uneasy we still are as a society when people try to process harm in public. It's a tricky thing when we struggle to confront systemic issues like sexual assault and domestic violence. These are issues that went unaddressed for generations and were quietly accepted as just the way things are. Turning that around is like moving Mount Everest to the other side of the world. So many hurt souls come out, rightfully demanding to be heard and to see justice for themselves, for current survivors, and for those who may face harm in the future. Meanwhile, the accused often deflect and lie to avoid consequences. And because human beings are human beings, there are also people who use these issues for retribution or financial gain. Yes, those people do exist. They are very difficult to expose. And what's more, when their accusations are exposed as false, those who are bent on resisting change seize on them as new talking points to discredit real survivors. But let me return to my wedding ring. Because of what I went through in the first marriage I entered into, and because I came out of it empowered and driven, but not unscarred, my post-divorce days were a reclamation of the joy of life as well as a more thoughtful journey. I put great thought into everything I did, right down to thinking of the type of man I could have in my life. I never had that type of blueprint before. As foolish as it sounds, I used to be interested in whomever showed interest in me. The blueprint was very simple. In addition to not being physically or emotionally abusive, this person had to see me as a human being first, not a woman first. And that sort of thing is pretty hard to find, especially in a culture that loves to wax poetically about God and the Bible. I needed someone that was not like that at all. My relationship with God was comfortably relegated to agnostic self-talk, which is another subject altogether. With all of that said, the universe delivered to me exactly what I ordered. I didn't realize how spot on he was until the day we were to head for what I thought was an afternoon brunch at a friend's house. I reviewed her email when I woke up that morning and realized she expected everyone to be there at 10 a.m. I was so afraid of telling him. My heart was pounding, and I was perspiring a bit. This type of oversight is something the man I had previously married would have flipped over. I'd have been subjected to yelling, screaming, and demeaning name-calling. But with this man, there was none of that. He simply slid out of bed and said, without even so much as a sigh, "Let's get going." I literally frowned at him and asked, "Aren't you mad?" To which he said, "Mad? What for?" That was the moment I realized how deep the experience in my previous marriage had messed me up. And that was the moment I relaxed and knew this man was a normal human being and that my heart, my mind, and my body were safe. He hasn't changed in his treatment of me in any way. I've seen a lot of change in him in other ways, though. A lot of positive ways, which adds to the cherry on the top of my marital sundae. When you are with a partner who tackles their flaws, revisits their approach to things, and grows through that, you have a living relationship and a true blessing. There's something sacred about being able to rest in love that doesn't demand you shrink to fit inside it. I think that's what I was searching for all along. Not just safety, but the kind of presence that doesn't punish or perform. It's a steady beat beneath the noise. And when I look at this ring, the oldest thing I'm wearing today, I see not just a promise I made, but a life I reclaimed. A story rewritten, not perfectly, but with sincere love. I'm going to end this piece by asking you to visit Mary Oliver's poem, The Journey. While I didn't leave alone, I had 6 children to bring with me. The journey in that poem still resembles mine. Maybe you'll see your journey in it as well. I also want to encourage you to read Richard Siken's litany in which certain things are crossed out. It's a vivid, layered depiction of my earlier abusive past, full of feeling and sharply constructed. I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks so much for listening to Prompt Responses. If something in this episode stirred something in you, I'm glad. These reflections are just a way of making sense of the world, one prompt at a time. I'm Shonda Renee, and you can find more over on this side of the apple. Until next time, take good care of yourself.